We conclude this special 5-part series on the NBA gambling scandal from the compliance perspective by looking at how the NBA and Adam Silver can begin to rebuild trust. Compliance tip of the day. This is the podcast where we bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. And now I'd like to say a few words about the latest podcast on the Compliance Podcast Network, AI Today in 5 with 5. Thrilled to announce the inaugural episode of my latest podcast series, AI Today in 5. I wanted to do a short, curated set of stories and news stories about AI for the compliance professional and the greater business professional. You can check it out on Megaphone, the Compliance Podcast Network, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple, or wherever great podcasts are listened to. Check out AI Today in 5. Adam Silver's tenure as NBA commissioner have largely been built around building consensus and rational, reasoned behavior. But now may be time for something different. How can Adam Silver and the NBA rebuild the trust of its customers? So going forward, what can Adam Silver do? His leadership has always been defined by calm rationality and consensus building, the antithesis of David Stern's authoritarian decisiveness. But Silver's first step is to stop treating the scandal as a series of isolated events. The NBA is not understanding that this is a business model problem, and compliance professionals would recognize this dynamic. When your core of your revenue strategy is the core of your risk profile, you have a program problem, and you have a governance. You don't have a program problem, but a governance problem. Next, this is a crisis about information. The NBA's integrity crisis began with a failure to control information. Player availability, injury reports, lineup changes are now tradable assets in the betting marketplace. This means that the NBA needs to tighten disclosure protocols, it needs digital access control, and it may need independent data audits. 3, Silver was one of the first, if not the first, major commissioner to work and advocate legalized gambling. Well, now this has come full circle. So the league needs to redefine its relationships with the sports books. It needs to work to eliminate player-specific prop bets. It needs to revisit sponsorship structures because of the inherent conflict of interest, and it needs to create a gambling integrity council. But how about rebuilding the culture of integrity? Because that's what this is all about. And the NBA must bed compliance into education, into player development, literally from day one. Silver now faces a David Stern moment, and this is how Stern responded to the Tim Donaghy scandal, but Silver now has the same level of scandal. He needs an independent oversight of the investigation, not an internal review, public disciplinary reports that detail findings and remediation steps, lifetime bans for proven offenders, and mandatory rehabilitation programs and annual integrity reports. The NBA can learn from prior scandals, but the NBA itself needs to hold a mirror up to itself and about its trade of ethics for engagement. If Silver can't pivot from expansion to ethics, it could be the beginning of the end for the NBA because, frankly, the NBA will lose the trust of the public. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, the NBA must embed education into player development at the league and team level. 2, the NBA must create a culture of speak up around gambling. If players are approached by gamblers, they need to disclose that. And finally, and this may be the most significant and most important, the NBA must lead this. Silver must lead this, but he must have engagement from all of the teams. There must be an integrity group who reports directly to the Board of Governors, and they need to utilize more corporate structures around culture and integrity. And I'm happy to do for you the compliance compliance profession is if you have a question or a series of questions you would like some compliance tips on, I'm happy to take any requests that you might want, certainly anonymize them, and give you a quick tip, either one quick tip or maybe a week's worth of quick tips. So if you have any tips you want about your compliance program, you can shoot me an email at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. This podcast was created and produced